In continuation with our series of lectures, let's take a look at the question type of interpreting words according to the context. Let's look at one more example. Now, let us say this particular sentence is there. I have taken this sentence simply because it is quite lengthy as a sentence. So when we are supposed to interpret a particular word in such a lengthy sentence, what are the parameters? So if you take a look at this, it says, externally, the monkey completely resembles the human being. You think that's true? Yeah. He will sit holding a book in front of his nose and turn over the pages with a thoughtful aspect, but his actions have no real meaning. So what are we talking about? We are talking about monkeys. What else are we talking about? We are talking about humans. What are we saying in connection with the monkeys and humans? We are saying monkeys and humans are similar. In what aspect are they similar? That is the question. Because the word aspect most likely means. So here we are trying to interpret what the word aspect means in the context of the sentence. So here, if you see, the sentence is broken down. Externally, the monkey completely resembles the human being. End of statement. That's why they've used a colon. He will sit holding. What is the purpose of a colon? If it is not considered as a deviation from this lesson into mentioning grammar here, the purpose of a colon is to elaborate on an idea that is presented. So obviously there would be an explanation here in the second part. So whatever we see in the second part would only reiterate the fact that externally that monkeys are similar to human beings, and probably it will also say something else apart from externally. Alright, now read the sentence from here. He will sit holding a book in front of his nose. Who does the he refer to here? Obviously the monkey, because the point in discussion here is the monkey. Turn over the pages, much like you and I do. Monkey is also turning over the pages with a thoughtful aspect, with a thoughtful expression, but his actions have no real meaning. So the action of turning the page is very different when a monkey turns a page and when a human being turns a page. When you and I turn a page, we are doing it with a purpose of having read or to continue reading. But when a monkey turns the pages, it is only imitating. So what do you make out of the expression of the monkey? So here, if you see, the word aspect refers to meaningful perspective. Do you think a monkey can have a perspective? You and I can have a perspective of the monkey perhaps. You can have a perspective of how the monkey appears when it is sitting there reading a particular book, or when it pretends to be reading a particular book and it's turning the pages. So basically what we are trying to say here is, externally it looks like us, but otherwise his actions have no meaning. The monkey's actions have no meaning. So therefore, meaningful perspective. So going by this meaning that the monkey's actions have no meaning as such, meaningful perspective as such would be totally incorrect, because that is exactly opposite of what is being inferred in the sentence. Facial expression, now that appears to be very, very narrow, so but we do not know. Let's put a question mark there. We do not know if it is only facial expressions, though at some level you might say a monkey, when it is sitting there turning the pages, it's only imitating. So the only thing you can make out from the whole of that monkey's attitude is its facial expression. Maybe, we do not know. Configuration. What? The monkey is some kind of a computer or something to have a configuration? Maybe not. This is very far-fetched. So totally irrelevant. Gone. Contemplation. What is the meaning of contemplation? Contemplation is to think deeply. Now the monkey externally appears to be like human beings, but it also has a thoughtful aspect. We are supposed to interpret not the word thoughtful, but we are supposed to interpret, as the question demands, we are supposed to interpret aspect. What kind of aspect? The thinking aspect. But is the monkey really thinking? How do we know whether the monkey is really thinking or not? Because immediately after aspect we have a thought contraster but, which means though it looks to have, or it appears to have, a thoughtful aspect. His actions have no real meaning. So the word aspect here has no real meaning. So therefore contemplation by a monkey, that's probably not possible. Minor part. What is minor part? If you take this and say thoughtful minor part, it doesn't make sense at all. So therefore this is also ruled out. Now what is our answer, or what is left out as an answer? Only facial expression. You might say contemplation is also a very strong answer, but how is contemplation a strong answer if you put the monkey in context and say a monkey has no thought process, or at least according to the sentence, it's merely turning pages, it does not know why it's doing so. We know that because it says but his actions have no real meaning. So thoughtful aspect is only related to its expressions, it's not related to its thought process. And since contemplation relates to the thought process and not to its expression, this can be ruled out, and therefore by elimination we get the word facial expression as an answer. Now the word aspect as such is a very simple word. It is not difficult at all. All of us know what the meaning of aspect is. But how is aspect related to facial expression? If you take aspect out of the context of this sentence and simply try to interpret it, you see that there is no connection at all between aspect and facial expression. But within the context of the sentence, it makes all sense to go for facial expression. And this is what we should be doing for any kind of question that is testing us on word meanings in the context of the sentence, or in the context of that particular set of lines that is given to us. So hope you have understood how to interpret words, irrespective of whether you know the meaning of the word or not, whether it is simple, difficult, whether the answer option appears to be totally irrelevant, or whatever is the case. Here, you might say facial expression, even without looking at all this analysis, you might directly say, okay, facial expression, this can't be the answer. Never do that. You always eliminate by keeping the context of the sentence in which the word appears in view, and then interpret. If you do that, very rarely you will go wrong. On the SAT exam, quite a few questions on the reading comprehension are based on interpretation of word meanings and line meanings. So you really need to be very careful when you tackle this type of question. And there's no reason why you should make a mistake here. This is one of the most straightforward types of questions which require superficial understanding and not very in-depth understanding or interpretation of the words.